Yeah. You already know it's the Galactic One, Illinois. We back cracking spells. Shout out to all the Galactic Guardians, 720 degrees. Shout out to the U.R. everybody living in that universal right order. Shout out to the House of Consciousness, Connecticut chapter. This message being brought to you by K.O.R TV, Kingdom of Righteousness TV. The show is called Wake Up Sheeple. Y'all already know how I do. We about to jump right into the demonstration. I say to all the great prophets, ancestors, aiders, messiahs, messengers who came before, making the platform available so we could be here today, giving you the message I share. Jumping right into the demo. Y'all already know how we do on this beautiful day of Ra-Heru. You know, being that we in Black August, you know what I'm saying? We can be vibrating high, talking about light. And today we're gonna build on eat light to eat right. You ain't eating right if you ain't eating light. You ain't eating right if you ain't eating light. What am I talking about here? What am I talking about here? You ain't eating right if you ain't eating light. Okay. Talking about them raw foods. We talking about raw food. You know, they say to eat the vegetables, the best way to eat the vegetables is to eat them raw, right? Don't cook them or nothing. If you want to get all the nutrients out of them vegetables, you got to eat them raw, right? But we talking about raw foods, the food of Ra. You know, the real food. You know, black people, we melanin dominant beings, and we need a lot of light in our lives. You know what I'm saying? Not only for informational purposes, but also to produce certain vitamins in the body that keeps us on a certain intellectual path and protects us from a lot of diseases, you know what I'm saying, and disorders that occur, right? And so with that being said, eating light, what am I saying? Get your ass out in the sun and absorb some sunlight. You know, most people living up north, basically in the United States, is being deprived of a certain amount of sunlight that their melanin body is expecting every day. They're expecting that like clockwork, like, yo, what's up? You have hormones waiting to do certain instructions in your body, but they can't perform because you're not getting enough sunlight. See, at 9 o'clock, you're supposed to be getting some cobalamin in your body. That's B12. If you go get sunlight at 9 o'clock, guess what? Cobalamin is going to get produced, and that B12 is what actually detoxifies your melanin. Yeah, the cobalamin is what's going to detoxify melanin, clean your melanocytes out. You see? Melanocytes. So, with that being said, you know, absorbing sunlight can do a lot of beneficial things to you. Like I just said, it's cleaning melanocytes, which is detoxifying your melanin, purifying your melanin once again. But you got to be out there at a certain time. Because the cobalamin is sitting there waiting like, what's up, where you at? And you ain't in the sun at these hours, 9 to 10. You feel me? 3 to 4. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that you get that nice cleansing done. Just by being in sunlight. You don't have to go to doctors. You ain't got to do all that weird stuff. Get your ass in the sun if you melanin dominant. You know? There's a reason for you being melanin dominant. You know what I'm saying? You need the sunlight. You know what I'm saying? That's food for your body. You know what I'm saying? Light is not only information, but it's food. So you have to feed your skin certain things. You know what I'm saying? So that it produces certain things like vitamin D. You feel me? And being vitamin D deficient is the leading cause of what we call heart disease and what we call like cancer, certain cancers, diabetes, which is we suffer from big in our new melanin dominant community, diabetes. So a lot of the diseases that we're having and the complications with the body is coming from a lack of sunlight. We're being deprived of the sun. If you go to work from 8 o'clock and you inside some office building, you're not getting sunlight. Yeah, you outside, but you're not getting sunlight. You're supposed to sunbathe, sun gaze, absorb the sun's rays, all 19 that you need for your body. 19 rays that's supposed to hit you that's going to produce certain things for your body. You got certain vitamins that only can be produced through sunlight. Certain vitamins that only can be produced through sunlight. So you got to eat light if you're going to be eating right. So you ain't eating right if you ain't eating no light. That's number one. So you can try to go get your supplements and all of that, but they're just supplanting only a certain amount of percentage. Those little pills that you take only give you about 300 units. The body of a melanin dominant black person needs about 3,000 to 5,000 units of vitamin D in one day. And you can't, it takes a lot of vitamin D to overdose, basically. So you can barely overdose off of it. But you got to be in the sun, basically. We can sit in the sun all day. That's why they made us slaves and pick cotton and do all that, because the Europeans couldn't sit out in the sun because they're lacking melanin. So they're vitamin D deficient. And this is why they drink things like milk, because those are fortified foods, created foods that they made, processed foods that they made to try to put vitamin D in them because they know they were lacking in these areas. So milk, casein, cow's milk, that we didn't need that shit. That's them that need that. They the ones lacking in that. All we got to do is sit in the sun. We don't got to go to no goddamn cow for no vitamin D. We don't need no cheese for no goddamn vitamin D. This is all bullshit. It's for them to make money, and it's a fucking business. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand and realize the power we have as light beings. You got to eat light. You are what you eat. If you ain't eating the light, then you ain't eating right. You know what I'm saying? And so we come from an equatorial, the equator type of beings, tropic type of beings. We supposed to be in the sunlight. When a nigga go to jail for a long time, the nigga turn light skin. When a nigga go to jail for a long time, he get mad light skin because he's being deprived of sunlight. He's becoming recessive of his melanin. And so one thing that we don't realize, especially women, y'all gotta love y'all black, beautiful melanin skin tone, because this is your gift. It's obvious that you're meant to be here. If the sunlight, you could take the sun's rays and turn that UV energy into a protection, a coat. You take the sun's rays and turn it into more energy. Like photosynthesis, your melanin acts as chlorophyll does in plants. It photosynthesizes light, converting it into energy, food, fuel for your body, for your mind, for your soul, because it also acts as information. Sunlight is information. Remember, light is knowledge. Knowledge is information. Overstand that. Understand that. Understand that. But you want to stand your ass in some light if you're melanin dominant, because this helps with a lot of the depression that we're having. We don't even know why the fuck we depressed. We're lacking sunlight. We stressed out because we lacking sunlight. Ladies, you got to love your beautiful melanin dominant carbonated skin tone, because it helps you with your aging process. You don't even age like them Europeans or the Caucasoid Mumukasu. You feel me? You don't age like them, the Wanzungu. Look how you age. It takes you 10 years slower than them. You age 10 years slower than a white lady. So you should feel super like Superwoman. You age 10 years slower than a white woman because you have that melanin in you. But you got to feed that melanin. You got to activate that melanin. Get in that sunlight. You know what I'm saying? And absorb them rays. That's for you, children of the sun. The K.O.R shield. The K.O.R shield of the sun. Children of the sun. You feel me? So understand, know your role, know that you have to eat light. Let's get back into the sunlight. The summer's about to end and all that. We going back into where the sun's going to be falling away. So this is a good time to try to absorb as much information, absorb as much light, much food that we need, because when it gets cold, it gets cold. Just think about it. Where does a cold come from, that virus? The cold, it came from people who was in the cold, not from people who was in the goddamn sun. So malaria, that's a part of the cold virus family, right? That attacked black people, but it transformed into a disorder where it becomes a sickle cell. And we still can live now. It's just we just got a disorder in us called sickle cell. They try to name it a disease, but it's just merely a disorder. Because we was able to adapt to that and turn and transform it and convert it to whereas white people, if they catch malaria, they're out of there. There's no way around it. So let's overstand our role. Let's get back in tune to who we be, as children of the sun. Let's get back into eating light. Like I said, we're going back to another, cycle and all that. And we're going to be falling away from the sun. So it's important that we absorb as much rays. Get your children out there in the sun. Let them get out there and play. And, understand that you're really a light-skinned being. People that can absorb light are really light-skinned because we can absorb the light. It's the other people who are colored skinned because this shit is transparent. They look like a fucking see-through ghost illusion. You look and see all the veins. You see all the different colors in them. ETC, they look orange, blue, black. You squeeze them, they can turn all type of colors. That's colored person. We are light-skinned. You see? Because we can absorb light. Overstand, know your role, children of the sun. Get back into the light. It's been another galactic glorious day. Y'all travel in harmony. Peace.